Hello, I'm Wade Henderson. Join me now for conversations with our neighbors who create visual art. This is Delta Hands. In this edition, we'll meet an oil painter who takes all the time he needs to capture scenes inspired by the Gulf South. We'll visit an artist who creates two-dimensional and three-dimensional pieces that refer to mathematical elegance. And in Baker, a multiple award-winning watercolor painter is known and appreciated for her art and instruction. We begin with Douglas Bourgeois, for whom every painting is a story, a powerful, startling, and often hilarious story. To articulate every nuance, he returned to the quiet of his Sanamar home.
After living in New Orleans for about 5 years and I think just burning out on various levels, I decided to recommit to commit to painting full time. I thought I would try it out. I mean, there are obviously certain attractions in the city. I mean, you can go to more art openings and you can do all these things. It's really exciting, but there's a complete conflict between all that activity and the solitude one needs to get work done. You know, there's a lot that goes into each piece. If I do 8 paintings a year, that would be a blockbuster year. It's normally more like 6 pieces, and they can take a month long to do, and they're almost like little movie productions, because I get an idea, instead of doing a thumbnail sketch, I will describe the scene almost, and it sort of comes into my head. Or you can be inspired by a news story, or if you hear a song, a movie, events in real life, you're thinking about a particular person, and then I describe the visual in a book, or just to remember it as I felt it at that moment. It's sort of like that saying, the noise of the world will drown out the voice of God if you allow it to. It's just like you have to isolate yourself to know what you're even thinking, and to let the radio transmission signals come in clearly into your visual mind. So, and it totally worked, because I just focused more when I came out here. I don't know. I think I was really calmed by maybe my family was really very good to me, in that they just sort of they know that I'm serious about it, and I've been doing this now for 20, 21 years full time, and they but I think if I had not moved away from, if I had not found a little sanctuary somewhere to work, I would not have been able to do it to this capacity. The more involved paintings are something that I feel I have to do. They're more like something that I feel compelled to paint. I don't know, there's some sort of important visual I have to drain out of my head to feel better. So it's therapeutic, it's poetic to me, it's like a quest. Anyway, it is hard to explain why you do what you do, but over the years it has evolved that way. I'm a pack rat and a collector, so I use a lot of the things that I collect, or that people mail to me. They'll see my work and they send me things, and it all ties into the regional attachment, because here the identification with where we live is so strong, we just sort of can't help it. I mean, it's so powerful. I feel like it's part of me, and it's responsible for the fact that you are an artist in a way, And I do know artists who've moved away, and they're really happy with it, but they still carry like a little Louisiana inside of them. It's sort of like they never leave, even though they leave. It is an extreme place, and nature is very much a part of it. And maybe that is what separates us from artists who live in urban areas in the East. The disconnect from nature is the biggest problem with people in general. And maybe that's why culturally we're so rich, because of the poverty. You have to just make greatness out of nothing, the air and the plants and the animals and what you have before you. But it's not my intention to do ideal figures, but I would want to put, say, in some paintings I would do, like I'd put little musical tapes, you know, just the cassettes, and I would write the actual 10,000 Maniacs or whoever to date the period, because if it looked too nostalgic, like it was maybe trying to emulate the 40s or something, I didn't want people to mistake it for another time. They may have been immersed in a certain style, like if they're in an old boarding house room and it looks really, you know, nostalgic, but I wanted to make it clear that it was set in 1991 or 1997, or so that has a lot to do with it. The artwork we saw was in Life magazine. That's where I saw, you know, Jackson Pollock and Joseph Cornell and Rauschenberg and, you know, all the pop artists. And then in the prayer missals and the holy cards we got, we saw Flemish Renaissance paintings and Italian Renaissance paintings. And so I've just got to say that was such a huge influence on the way I work. And just the way I perceive, you know, that sort of perfectly still, frozen composition. I don't see it as coal. I see it as really a spiritually elevated look in artwork. The figures aren't perfect, so to me the point is not to get the figure perfect or the architecture, but to get it as vivid to the picture you have in your head as possible. You just have to follow that voice in your mind, no matter, you know, what, you know, if it's chewing 500 wads of gum and sticking that on a board, you know, that's what you do, you know. But I just feel lucky that there's anyone during my lifetime who likes what I do.
As Delta Hands continues, objects of art which echo ideas of science, and paintings that convey the subtle values of life.